What really happened when Captain America went back alone to return the Soul Stone? Was it just a mission? Or the heaviest moment of Steve Rogers' entire life? Welcome back to MovieCast. I'm your host Liam Harrison, and today we're diving deep into one of the most emotionally silent yet powerful journeys in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is not about explosions, not about time travel mechanics, and not about multiverse chaos. This is about a man carrying the weight of history, loss, and responsibility as he steps into a place where the past never truly dies. When Hulk handed Steve Rogers the Time GPS and the Infinity Stones after the snap, it looked simple on the surface. Return the stones, fix the timelines, mission complete. But buried inside that mission was one task that no one talked about, one destination no one wanted to imagine, and one sacrifice that could never be undone. Vormir. The moment Steve saw the orange glow of the Soul Stone in the briefcase, he knew this would not be like returning the Space Stone to S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Mind Stone to Hydra's lab. This wasn't about timelines. This was about Natasha Romanoff. This was about facing a truth that even Captain America could not punch his way out of. Steve's journey to Vormir begins in complete silence, and that silence matters. Every other stone had a clear place and a clear moment in history where it could be returned without emotional consequences. Vormir was different. Steve knew exactly where this stone came from, and more importantly, what it cost. As he activates the Time GPS, this isn't the hopeful leap of a hero fixing mistakes. This is a soldier walking back into a battlefield long after the war is over, knowing the bodies are still there. When he lands on Vormir's mountain peak, nothing has changed. The same fog crawls across the ground, the same eerie stillness presses down on him, and the same ancient pedestal waits at the center like a scar that never healed. This place isn't hostile, but it isn't welcoming either. Vormir doesn't threaten you, it judges you. And Steve, more than anyone, understands judgment. He steps forward slowly, shield on his arm, not because he expects a fight, but because this shield has always been his emotional armor. This is the place where Natasha chose the world over herself, and Steve feels that choice pressing on his chest with every step he takes. Then the air shifts and Red Skull appears. Not as a conqueror, not as a general, but as something far worse for Steve Rogers, a reminder. When Red Skull speaks Steve's name, it lands like a punch Steve never saw coming. This isn't the enemy he remembers screaming Hydra slogans and chasing world domination. This is a ghost bound by cosmic punishment. Red Skull's voice is calm, almost ceremonial, as he identifies Steve not as Captain America, but as Stephen, son of Joseph. That alone tells us everything. Red Skull knows him completely, down to the man he was before the serum, before the shield, before the legend. Steve's shock isn't fear, it's disbelief. The last time they saw each other, Red Skull vanished with the Tesseract, presumed dead. Now here he stands, cursed, stripped of ambition, reduced to a guide who can never touch the treasure he guards. There is no fight, because there is no victory to be won here. Red Skull isn't Hydra anymore. He's a living consequence, and Steve understands consequences better than most. Their conversation carries the weight of unfinished history. World War II hangs between them without being spoken aloud. Hydra's obsession with power, the Tesseract tearing Schmidt away from humanity, Bucky's suffering, all of it echoes in the pauses between their words. Steve asks how Red Skull ended up here, and the answer is simple and cruel. Misuse of the Tesseract led to this fate. Power taken without wisdom always demands payment. This is a theme that follows Steve throughout his entire arc, and Vormir is the purest expression of it. Red Skull didn't lose because Steve defeated him. He lost because he wanted more than he understood. And now, ironically, he exists only to enforce the universe's most brutal rule. A soul for a soul. No exceptions. No loopholes. Steve doesn't argue this rule because he already knows it's true. He's standing in the aftermath of that rule. Natasha's absence is proof enough. When Red Skull mentions the Soul Stone's price, Steve's composure cracks, but only slightly. He doesn't shout. He doesn't beg. He simply states the truth that hurts the most. She was his friend. Not a soldier, not a spy, not an asset. A friend. Someone who believed in him when the world was burning. Someone who jumped without hesitation, so others wouldn't have to. Red Skull's response is cold. Not because he is cruel, but because he is bound to truth. Natasha chose. Love made the sacrifice possible. That word, love, is what truly wounds Steve. Because love is the one thing he never doubts, and also the thing that costs the most. Red Skull makes it clear that the sacrifice is irreversible. This isn't a door you can walk back through. Vormir doesn't bargain, and it doesn't forgive. The stone was earned, and that earning carved Natasha out of the universe forever. Now comes the most misunderstood part of this mission. Returning the Soul Stone does not require another sacrifice. This is where Steve's role becomes clear. The universe doesn't demand double payment. It demands balance. The sacrifice has already been made. Natasha's life fulfilled the condition. Steve's job is not to undo that cost, but to restore the timeline so that the universe doesn't fracture around it. When Steve opens the briefcase, the Soul Stone's glow reflects off his face, and for a moment, he looks older than he ever has. This stone represents every impossible choice the Avengers have made. He lifts it carefully, not like a weapon, but like a memory. When he places it back on the pedestal, there is no explosion, no shockwave. Just a soft, almost mournful glow. Vormir accepts the stone, and the imbalance is corrected. Not erased. Corrected. Red Skull watches silently, his role fulfilled once again. He does not celebrate because there is nothing to celebrate. His likely final words cut deeper than any villain monologue ever could. The debt is settled. The soul remains lost. That line defines the Soul Stone more than any rulebook ever could. The universe has been paid, but the loss remains. Balance does not mean happiness. It means stability. Steve stands there, shield heavy on his arm, understanding something that most heroes never have to face. You can save the universe and still lose the people you love. Those two truths can exist at the same time, and Vormir is built to make sure you never forget that. Steve's goodbye to Natasha is quiet, almost invisible. No tears fall. Not because he doesn't feel the pain, but because he has carried too much pain for too long to let it break him now. He whispers an apology, not because he failed her, but because he survived. Survivor's guilt has always haunted Steve, from Brooklyn to World War II to the snap. He looks at the pedestal one last time, knowing this place will forever hold a piece of his story. Then he activates the time GPS. The jump away from Vormir isn't an escape. It's acceptance. He has done what needed to be done, even if it hurt more than any battle ever did. After returning the remaining stones, something inside Steve shifts. Vormir didn't just take him back in time. It pushed him forward emotionally. For the first time, Steve understands that duty doesn't always mean moving on alone. Natasha's sacrifice wasn't about endless war. It was about giving others a chance to live. And that realization is what leads Steve to his final choice. Instead of returning to the present immediately, he chooses to stay. Not out of selfishness, but out of respect for everything that was lost. He goes back to Peggy. Not to rewrite history, but to finally live in it. Vormir showed him the cost of never choosing himself. Peggy represents the life he was always willing to sacrifice for others. Now, for once, he allows himself to keep something. This is why the Soul Stone mission matters more than any other. It isn't about mechanics. It's about closure. It's about understanding that some losses shape who we become, and honoring them doesn't always mean undoing them. Steve Rogers didn't bring Natasha back. He carried her sacrifice forward, quietly, faithfully, the way Captain America always has. And in doing so, he finally earned the right to put the shield down. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of Marvel's most emotional untold moments, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to MovieCast for more powerful movie breakdowns. I'm Liam Harrison, and I'll see you in the next story.